How to become a strong meditator. If you want to make progress in meditation, the best key is to establish a habit or routine. You really need a daily practice. You're not going to make much progress without it. And that's because it's a long journey. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, as they say. You don't suddenly become a great meditator. I once, when I was first starting out, had a long-time practitioner who was giving me some guidance say, it's spade work. It's just digging in the garden slowly, step by step, improving. If you stop for a long time, you'll probably regress somewhat and lose a certain percentage of what you gained. That's normal, it's expected. If you have a period of intensive meditation, you're going to hit some kind of peak, and then you'll settle back. But you shouldn't sink back to a worse state than you were before. You should maintain at least half the gains that you experienced in a retreat, for example. Maybe not quite that much, maybe a little more. So don't worry about some of it sifting out. That's just part of the process. When you don't have the support of retreat anymore, that's going to be a normal situation. In your daily life, however, the key points that you need are basically establishing a daily practice. I really recommend establishing a morning practice pretty soon after you get up. Immediately upon waking up, if you're that kind of person. I don't. I like to get up and study and read a little bit of Dharma. So the second thing is don't look at technology before you practice. Don't go to Twitter, don't read your emails. I look at my e-reader, but it's just to read some Dharma texts, some things about meditation and Buddhism. But I don't look at the computer, I don't check emails, I don't do any of those things. I used to, but then it bothered me, and I realized that I needed to stop it, and I did, and my meditation immediately improved dramatically. Now I'm much happier for it. Those things can wait. This has a second benefit of the first thing you do when you get up is establish that tone of meditation, and then it filters throughout your day. So the next thing is to keep a record of your practice. Get a little practice calendar, a little meditation, or just some kind of little calendar you can keep there with fold-up pages, and write down how much you're sitting every day, and write down if you don't sit every day. That's from Ani Pema. She says, even if you don't write anything, even if you don't sit, write in 0. And then you can keep it at your meditation table or your meditation space. That helps a lot. It also does help to have a little table in front of you. It gives you, it's almost like a work situation, like your meditation desk, a little office where you do your spiritual work, as it were. Fourth is to know what you're doing. When you sit down, remind yourself of what meditation means, what it is, define it. And that basically means placing your mind on the object of meditation and leaving it there. There's a lot more to this, of course, which is part of what my whole meditation course is about. So fifth is to establish good motivation. Now, under these two is to study meditation a lot. If you study it, then that'll give you good motivation. You'll learn the benefits of it and how exciting it can actually be, how enjoyable it can be. But it also helps you progress in your meditation because you know the basic abilities that you need, the skills, the postures. There's a lot of stuff to it, and it gives you things you can do in your meditation to work with it, to keep it interesting, to keep it fresh. So constantly refresh your motivation to meditate. Develop an idea of what a really good meditation is, what it means to be a great meditator. Instead of studying it, you can come to see that great meditation is a real thing. It sounds a bit corny. What is a great meditator? Somebody who just sits there. But keeping the mind focused on a powerful and subtle object of the mind is not easy. It's also not passive. It's very active. It's quite difficult. It takes a lot of practice. It takes tremendous fortitude and motivation, endurance. It even takes courage. The mind can be a scary place, and you're going deeply into it, so don't sell it short. Don't act like meditation is just, oh, it's some old thing I do to feel better. It's a powerful method of working with your mind very directly. When it's difficult, it's good to realize that you're taking on an arduous, challenging, and sometimes confusing task. The rewards are not tangible. You won't get rich meditating, but the intangible rewards can be amazing. Your relationships can improve quite dramatically, especially if you apply yourself to the virtues of kindness, generosity, openness, warmth. Your focus can improve. If you do meditation well, it will improve. And if you do it really well, it will improve dramatically. Your emotional excesses will tend to diminish, especially if you study the theory of how emotions work in the Buddha Dharma. It's said that gentleness is the mark of learning, and reduced kleshas, or reduced negative emotions, that is the mark of practice. So the final point is to at least consider having a daily chant. When you establish your motivations, and you're a Buddhist, they say there's 3 components to a meditation to make it a proper meditation. And that is that you take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Then you do the main meditation, which is you meditate on the breathing or whatever your object meditation is. And finally, you dedicate the merit. And dedicate the merit means to dedicate it to all sentient beings, so they can all find some peace in this life and hopefully liberation from their suffering. So when you take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha to remove yourself from sufferings. And you want to develop a stable, focused, clear, you want to develop a stable, focused, clear mind that's not too caught up in itself. Meditation, of course, that we're studying here, and to dedicate the merit is the Mahayana or Bodhisattva ideal. So that is more Buddhism. But it's said that when you meditate on profound topics, or even aspire to do so, you develop tremendous merit, which is like really very good karma in a sense. It's the best possible karma. So you make that merit much more powerful by dedicating it to the benefit of others, so that others can be free of the suffering of samsara too. Now, I'm not saying you need to do those things, refuge and dedicating the merit, meaning obviously you have to meditate if you want to meditate, because this is not about teaching you to be a Buddhist. But I'm drawing on that in order to help our practice and become better meditators. So if you come up with kind of an equivalent to that, some sort of meaningful correlate to that, or just take refuge in your own mind and your ability to focus your mind, take refuge in Jesus, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, take refuge in something, and then that directs your mind towards that. You can even take refuge just in meditation. It's all fine. You can make a vow that's a commitment to developing and becoming a good meditator, and write a short text like, I vow to become a great meditator. I won't give up till I do that. And then you meditate after that. So you've set the tone, you've set the direction, and that creates a lot of focus and drive in your meditation. It puts you on point, which is extremely important. Once you know what you're doing and you've set the mind to do it, you're much more likely to do it than if you just sit down and don't really know where you're going or what you're doing. If it's kind of imprecise and vague, you will sit there for your 20 or 30 minute period, and you'll do most of the time thinking. You might have a few minutes of feeling good. A lot of people call that meditation, but I wouldn't. I would say it's just sitting there feeling good. If you have a positive intent, even toward yourself, as long as it's not harmful towards anyone, and it seeks to create a good outcome, then the karma will probably be good, so you can dedicate that, and it changes normal karma into merit. So you change the karma towards liberation, let's say. That's generally how karma becomes merit, because merit means karma that is guiding us out of the karmic stream. This is quite a complicated topic, and I cover it elsewhere, but But you can say, I'd like to dedicate any merit accumulated here towards freeing myself from pain and suffering, or towards becoming a better person. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but just come up with a little text, a little sandwich for your meditation that works for you. Or use the traditional Buddhist one. I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and I dedicate the merit for the benefit of all beings. Taking those components and making your conceptual sandwich around your meditation gives a lot of power. It magnifies the benefit of meditation. It gives it a context and a framing. It's very helpful for developing a continuity and for deepening the understanding that is meditation in an experiential sense. You can live it, you can feel it, it gets into you a lot more. Gets into you more deeply. So those are the 7 points that I recommend in order to develop a good, strong meditation practice and actually become a genuine meditator, a good meditator, and even a great meditator.